kicking off hour number 2. I was going to talk about all things training camp with this man, but in light of what we just talked about, the ESPN deal to purchase NFL Network, Mike Mayock is joining us to tell us how large his residual check is. Mike, how are you doing? Good to see you, Mike. What's going on?
Rich, two things. Number one, I like that intro of you in your suit walking around with NFL football. That was pretty cool.
Thank you, sir.
Caught my eye.
Thank you, sir.
And number two, if anybody is going to talk about the economic impact
yes, sir.
of ESPN and NFL, it's probably you, brother, because you've been at both.
Yeah.
You've made major bank at both.
Yes.
And apparently, let me finish.
Yeah.
Apparently, Rich, you've signed a deal with ESPN.
That's correct.
And you're going to be like one of the biggest names in that network's history coming up. So you're really the one to talk about that.
I appreciate that. And in the meantime, I'm going to say, when will I get my residual check? Hold on a minute. I got a magic 8-ball here. And it says, wow, this is really weird. I've never seen a go F yourself on the magic 8-ball. I've never seen that before. But it actually did say, don't count on it. That really just show up. I'm not kidding you. So
I think we could ask Stump the Truck.
My buddy Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show, courtesy of Sumer Sports, which we'll get to in a second. I'm curious as to what this is about and what you're up to here. That said, how does the Micah Parsons scenario, negotiation, non-negotiation, hit somebody who's been in this league and business for decades in so many different roles, including general manager? Mike, how does this hit you where you are?
A couple different ways. One, Jerry Jones has done business for a lot of years, and he made an allusion today to, buying the Dallas Cowboys on a handshake, which I understand and respect. And, business was done a certain way. But I don't think you ever cut a deal with a player and say that's your deal, especially when they have representation. So from my perspective, I think Micah Parsons has shown up and done everything he's supposed to do. He's one of the most explosive football players in this league. I'm a little bit surprised by how the Cowboys have handled the negotiations or, the non-negotiations, because they won't call the agent. I think it's well within Micah Parsons' purview to hold in. And at a certain point, Rich, I think you look at the comps and you look at there are a bunch of edge rusher comps. You look at the TJ Watt deal, forget all the big numbers and the 45 million average and all that. I think what's important is TJ got 3 years guaranteed, which is rare. And that's the most important number, is the how long are your guarantees, followed by what is the guarantee at 108 million. So if I'm Micah Parsons, what I'm looking for is a 3-year guarantee over 108 million. A lot of the other numbers are fluff. I hope the Cowboys don't stare this thing down and say you're playing for 24 million or you're not playing. That would be a shame.
Well, the shame is one way to put it. It would also be mind-boggling, right? I mean, talent over everything, money over everything. And like, let's go here. I mean, that's the Philadelphia Eagles who are raising the banner on opening night, and not just any Philadelphia Eagles team. You and I both know Roseman has built this thing to last, and he signs his guys early, right? I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We could go on and on and on and on, right? And so you can't go into that game without Micah Parsons because you won't call the agent because a handshake agreement. That's why I just seem to believe that this has got to get done. And don't you think, Mike? It's got to get done. It will. It will.
I'm blown away by the lack of communication. I really am. The player is in camp, and they've got to be talking to the agent. I mean, it's not at this point with all the comps out there. He's 26 years old. He's one of the most dynamic and explosive defensive players in the league. We all know what the numbers got to be, plus or minus. You got to go make the deal. Now, Jerry could be sitting there and going, wait a minute, I got him for 24 this year, and I can hold on to him next year at an exponent higher than that based on a franchise tag. So I can get him for 2 years. And really, Mike is the only thing he can do is hold back services, which most players won't do, because you're going to give up 10 weeks salary at age 26 in the prime of your career because you got to report by week 11 or your contract tolls, meaning it doesn't count this year and you're right back in the same situation next year. So if the Cowboys want to be tough, they can be. But Rich, let's just open the doors of communications and get them on the field. It makes no sense to me.
Well, Mike, I mean, you've been in a position before where I'm sure you've had the hammer of a leverage, and then you've got to figure out, like, what does that mean at the end of the day, right? Like, for the greater good. I mean, have you ever been in a position like that where, like, I've got the leverage, I can swing this hammer, but showing the fact that I don't have to swing it is just as valuable as the contract I'm offering, right?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of situations where I was really happy with the way the Raiders handled it. I remember with Colton Miller, who's one of the best offensive tackles in football. He was starting to dig his heels in a little bit and talk about potentially moving on from his agent. And we proactively got it done, and I think he appreciated that. I think the locker room appreciated it. I mean, I look at Trey Hendrickson. We're talking about defensive ends. Different conversation. The guy's 30 years old, but he's averaged 14 sacks a year the last 5 years. He's had 17 and a half sacks the last 2 years. The Bengals do business a little differently, especially with defensive players. But the way they're looking at this thing, I think, Rich, and here's where like every team's different.
Right.
They're saying we have a value for this guy that we believe in. Forget all the comps. We have a value, number one. And number two is at age 30, is he really going to sit out? Nah, he won't. He'll play for the $15 million that he's under contract for this year and then can go next year. We'll stare. And the Bengals have a history of staring that battle down. I think both of them are senseless to a degree. Both players have earned a certain number. When you get to age 30, you have to take that in consideration. Just like Terry McLaurin at wideout, you have to take that number into consideration from the owner side, from management side. But man, the Micah Parsons thing just irritates me, Rich.
Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show. What, in your estimation, from your vantage point, is the solve for Terry McLaurin and the Commanders? Mike?
There's a history of wide receiver drop-off after age 30. Terry's approaching that, I think, in the next month or so. We had Terry McLaurin at the Senior Bowl in 2019, and I love the kid. You want to talk about, and he didn't have big production at Ohio State, which is, they had a bunch of wideouts that had bigger acclaim than him, which is why he didn't go till the third round. He's got 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He is the captain of their team, and he's one of the most professional young men I've ever met. Now, I was thinking about the A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf contracts, which average around 32, 33, but they're 2-3 years younger. In wide receiver years, that's a lot. So, you look at Mike Evans. He signed at age 30. Mike Evans got a 2-year extension before the 24 season. I want to say I think he got $35 million guaranteed, but it was a $41 million contract. I think that McLaurin's looking for a lot more than that. I don't think he's going to get to the $30 million average. And the wideout numbers have gone up big, especially because of those 2 Bengal guys. So I think they have to get McLaurin in camp. If you want to chase the Eagles, to your point about Dallas chasing the Eagles,
right?
Washington's got a dynamic group of young guys, even though it's an older roster. And you better get McLaurin in there. He's the best wideout. He's their captain, and he means a lot to this franchise. And I just like the way Washington's terminology is publicly. We love the kid. We want him back. We're going to do everything we can to get there. It's a tough negotiation, but we'll get there. That's the attitude it should be.
Well, isn't that the attitude the Ravens had with Lamar publicly, right? Back in the day, like, where no matter what Lamar was saying, I want to trade, I want this, I want that, they were loving him up, as best they could publicly. I mean, I don't know, privately what was going on, but that seemed to be happening there. I just think, again, this has to be, they got to solve it, right? Jaden Daniels, year 2. What are you going to take his BFF away? You can't take his BFF away like that. They can't. Seriously.
Have to sign him, have to sign Micah.
Right.
And the Lamar thing's really intriguing, Rich. If I remember correctly,
Yes.
the franchise tag they put on him put him at risk for 2 first-round picks.
Right.
In hindsight,
Yeah,
how many
right.
teams would make that deal now?
No, please.
Are you kidding
know.
me?
I know. And obviously that's a whole different story. Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show. Just going to give you the floor. What's your training camp intrigues you? Which team do you think, has the shot that we're not talking about? I'll give you the floor. What do you got for me? What have you seen out there that you're like, you know what, I like this, or this concerns me? I'll just give you anything. Omnibus, Mike, go for it.
Omnibus, I like that.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
like that.
Yeah, I know. Your BC knowledge, you got it. You got it in there.
Omni, Latin root, other pertaining to all.
Mike Mayock, everybody. Yes, sir. What do you got for me? What do you think?
I think the 2 best teams from a talent perspective in the league that I've seen last year and then again this year are Philadelphia and Baltimore. And I don't think that's going to surprise a lot of people. Philadelphia, what they keep doing, they traded for the corner yesterday or the day before from the Raiders, Jacorian Bennett. They gave up a backup rotational defensive tackle, who, by the way, I like, is a good player. But he's a solid rotational defensive tackle. Potentially, they get a starting corner. That's going to help them. They did that Jihad Campbell. The linebacker that slid to them because of the injury.
Right.
He don't look like he's very hurt to me, Rich. He was running around the field last week like a puppy, and he's the future of the off-the-ball linebacker position. He can line up in the A-gap. He can line up a defensive end as a 9 technique.
Yeah.
He can drop back and cover 2 and run under a wideout 40 yards down the field. He and the kid from Georgia, Jalen Walker, who went to Atlanta in the first round, are kind of the future of the off-the-ball linebackers. And the Jihad Campbell kid, man, and the Eagles, Jeff Stoutland, their offensive line coach. I mean,
yep.
God bless him.
Another good Staten Islander from my hometown, Stoutland.
Is he your hometown?
That's right. We're from the same hometown, Staten Island, New York.
He's amazing. And they keep drafting young kids in the 5th, 6th, 7th round and giving it to them. And 3 years later, they're starters. And then Baltimore, Rich, put this in your memory bank.
Okay.
Baltimore, number 98, Travis Jones. Okay. He's a 3rd or 4th year, 340-pound defensive tackle who took some stride. He caught my eye last year, and I had a couple of their games late. And he's a monster. And I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think their wideouts are really good. Their offensive line is really good. I mean, they're going to score 30-plus points a game again. Defensively, the thing that held them back a little bit last year, it was in the defensive backfield. They drafted Malachi Starks, the safety, in the first round, as advertised.
Yeah, pretty much.
Surprise.
Yeah, right.
They signed a Awuzie and Jair Alexander. I was at their joint practice yesterday with Indy, and Jair Alexander was in mid-season form. He was chirping everybody, and I mean, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this all tracks. You know what I mean? All of this tracks with what you're saying, kind of all on brand for both franchises. Which team are we not talking about? We should be. Which one? Give me that one, Mike.
I don't think Washington is a one-year aberration.
You don't.
And I'm such a believer in this young kid. I have a list of quarterbacks in my book every year. And I have 4 franchise quarterbacks this year, which I think everybody knows who they are. And at number 5, I got Jaden Daniels. And if he has another year this year like last year, with everybody game planning for him, he'll be the 5th franchise quarterback. And then there's a group from like 6 to 12 that you can win Super Bowls with. And 2 of them already have, Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. It's a really good second group. But Washington, to me, they got a left tackle in free agency. They kept their tight end, Ertz. I'm a big believer both in their young GM. Adam Peters is outstanding, and their head coach, Dan Quinn. And I don't think they're an aberration. I think they're the real deal.
And I got to get the names. I'm assuming Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Burrow are the 4 that you.
I knew you were. I just know you.
Come on now.
I left that out there dangling on purpose.
No, I'm not going to leave that. You know I'm not going to leave that.
Yeah, they were the 4.
Okay. And Daniel's above Hurts on this list.
Well, here's the point.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
In the first 4, if I gave you first pick, I'll take any of the other 3 and beat you. Okay.
Yes.
And then in the next group of like 6 or 7 guys, like there was a big controversy in Philly because Hurts was only number 9 on some list.
Right.
I'm like, guys, I don't care if he's 5 or 9. He just won a championship. And 2 years ago, he was in the championship and played at a high level. The guy is the right guy with the right fit at the right time. Don't worry about whether he's 5 or 9. You can win a championship with him.
Is that your way of saying that was low-hanging fruit for me to point out that Hurts is below Daniels on your list, Mike? Is that I know you like that? I should be better than that. Was what you?
I think Daniels has the key, has the potential to get into that group.
Okay.
And I think in that next group, and I mean, I'll share. I mean, the way I look at it.
Let's go. Yeah.
I had Stafford and Hurts, who both won Super Bowls.
Yep.
I had Goff.
Herbert.
I had Herbert.
Okay.
I had Purdy. I had Mayfield, who got into that group for the first time this year.
Love it.
And C.J. Stroud, I got a little. His first year was great. Last year, I don't have that on him. That was some of the worst pass protection I ever saw. I think he's going to have another strong year. So when I leave that second group, Rich, and I say you can win a Super Bowl with all those guys, okay? I think they're really good football players. You get in the third group, they're solid, but they have kind of question marks. And that's guys like Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Bo Nix is still there, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray. They're all, and then there's some young guys that I keep to the side because they haven't proven it yet. The Drake May, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix guys, and there's some guys the jury's out. They haven't done much yet. Bryce Young, J.J. McCarthy, Cam Ward, Anthony Richardson, and some of those old vets like, let's see, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. So I just kind of gave you a list there that I think is intriguing, but it's the way I qualify quarterbacks going into a season.
Where's Rodgers on the list?
Off to the side.
Okay.
In all honesty, I did their game, as I told you, their Houston game, which they won at New York last year. And I see arm strength. He spins it. I still thought he was struggling a little bit moving around in the pocket, which later in the year didn't look as apparent. I don't know what we're going to get this year. I think we'll probably get a guy that fits in that third group, the solid group. And I think that would be good enough to help Pittsburgh have another solid year.
Sumer Sports, what is it, Mike? Tell me about it.
Oh, my gosh.
What do you got for me, man?
Well, I was getting ready for you today, Rich.
Okay.
It's this AI company that all I do is write scouting reports. I watch college tape and write reports. But they just kind of let me in. They have this Sumer Brain, which is an AI thing. And the whole, this is really, Rich, about showing you where the NFL is going right now. The whole league is either developing their own analytics department to a level we can't believe, or they're contracting out to other groups. And at Sumer, like when I was getting ready for you, I called Sumer, said, hey, give me an overview of all the wideouts that turned 30 and did new contracts. What were the numbers? What were the guaranteed numbers? What's the recommendation for Terry McLaurin, et cetera? And 30 seconds later, I got the answer for all of it.
Wow.
All of it. Then I asked last week, well, from a coach's perspective, let's say I want to know what all of Tampa Bay's fronts were in the last 4 regular season game. I want fronts. I want coverage. I want it against 11 personnel, first and second and third down, success or not against run and pass. Spit it out. That would take quality control, 2 young quality control assistants, 16 hours a day, 2 days. 90 seconds later, it spit it all out. It's where the NFL's going. And I think a lot of teams are ahead of other teams. It's kind of the next frontier. And an old guy like me, I saw some of the AI stuff with the Raiders and the way the coaches used it to track GPS stuff in game planning, but it's getting to a whole nother level. And I thought I was just going to be like breaking down tape, and I'm kind of energized by looking at what this stuff can do. And you're going to hear more and more as it goes on, Rich.
I love it. bringing the authentic intelligence to artificial intelligence. Mike Mayock of Sumer Sports. See, there's nothing artificial about your intelligence at all. But I love hearing your passion, obviously, about anything, in this in particular, Mike. Before I let you go, how did the Darren Waller signing in Miami hit you as a guy who goes way back with him, Mike?
Mixed emotions. I'll never forget the poignant moment where he stood up in front of our team. We gave, it was his, I forget which year, 5th, 6th, 7th year of sobriety, and Max Crosby asked us to do something for him. We raised some money, gave him a big check. And it was players only, coaches only, and me. And we closed the doors, and Max introduced Darren to the room. And I sat there transfixed, crying for 10 minutes. I'll never forget that moment. And I'm not going to reveal any of it. I just was so touched by Darren Waller sharing his story with us. So I get this big thing in my heart for him. He hasn't been as healthy over the past couple of years, hasn't been as productive. When he's healthy, productive, and all in, he's as good as any tight end in football. So I'm rooting for him. All my positive thoughts are with him. And I hope at the end of this year, in his mind, he feels like he made the right decision.
Yeah, and I got Mike McDaniel on tomorrow's program. I mean, he'll know what to scheme with him, right? Tua, finding him quickly as a big, huge target. If he is healthy and he's the Waller that you helped rediscover and put on the field, that's a particularly dangerous weapon for an already lightning fast team, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Mike.
and it is. And Tua is so good at processing quickly. And Waller's 260 pounds and literally, legitimately runs sub 4.5 when he's in shape. So at all three levels, if a blitz is coming, he wins early. If you got a little time to develop a progression, he wins late. He's special when healthy, and it's going to be interesting to see what injuries and age have done. But it's kind of a fascinating hire. Mike,
you're the man. Let's do this more often, as you know. I love chatting with you.
Same here, brother.
And congrats on Sumer Sports and everything going on. Love your insight, and we'll chat again real soon.
Talk to you soon, man.
That's the one and only Mike Mayock here on the Rich Eisen Show. Love it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.